the Supreme Court opened the door for Donald Trump, aka President Trump, to start making moves at the Department of Education. Okay, and what's happening here? Basically, he's gutting the Department of Education. It's not bad to use the word gutting because that's what's happening. He's minimizing it, and he's trying to slowly send the power back to the states. Now he can't, if he could, he would completely eliminate it, but that's got to come through Congress. That's not going to happen. But he is going to gut it and give more power back to the states. It's very similar to what they've done with abortion, just not as far, right? Abortion now is state by state. And here's my take, because if you know me, I'm a teacher, right? So this is what I do for a living. So I'm right in the mix. And my thing is just like I look at it like a coach of a sports team. All right. If let's just say you're working for a county that has 10 high schools, big county, 10 high schools. I worked in one that had 8 high schools. But you work in a county that has 10 high schools and the county says everybody has to, let's just focus on football for a minute. Every team has to practice 90 minutes, not 85, not 95, exactly 90 minutes. And you got to start with 10 minutes of warm up, and then you got to do individual for 25 and whatever. They give you the complete structure how practice has to go every day. Well, you're going to get, okay, yeah, maybe you level the playing field, but you're not going to get, you're going to create robots. The great thing about sports and why you see the best teams rise is because coaches do different things, they train different ways. Maybe they're building their athletes throughout the year better than another coach. There's just a lot of factors. So it drives competition. I mean, me as a coach, a lot of things that I do, I pick pieces from other coaches. When I first started doing track and field, I saw this other coach do something called Team Love, big circle at the end. They usually won. Everyone's leaving and they're still running around the track, cooling down. They're doing this whole thing. And I'm like, I like that. So I'm not going to like take it word for word, but I'm going to use that and create it as my own. Then I saw another coach do this high level dynamic warm ups. I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm going to take pieces of that and kind of make it, so you start to learn and you say, okay, oh, I like what they're doing there. I like what they're. So with the Department of Education, when you start giving it back to the states and hopefully county by county locally, you're going to start to see like, whoa, the county over there is doing a great job. Let's go find out what they've done. Why are their test scores so high? Oh, Florida, man, Florida's education system is dominating. What are they doing in Florida, right? But when you have one department over the whole thing, it starts to become all the same everywhere, which might not be a bad thing if it's succeeding. But if it's not succeeding, then everyone is failing together. It's not like these individual counties don't have some ability to do what they want, but they're controlled in every aspect. What if you live in an area like I do where a lot of students are going to go into trades? They're going to go into construction. They're going to go into auto mechanics. They're going to go into nursing. They're going to go into, uh, you know, video production, whatever it may be. Maybe they're not going to college, but the whole system is directed towards going to college. You got to take these 4 math, these 4 science, these 4 English, these 3 history, whatever. And everybody's like a robot having to take the same things. So if you start giving power to the counties and states, and they can say, hey, we might go more of a trade route because a lot of our students are going to trade schools. And then it starts working. And then other counties look at you and say, oh, I like what you're doing. Let me put some of that stuff into our system. In other words, it just gives the areas freedom to hopefully do what they want. Now, the states can still come in and strap down the counties by telling them they got to have this many classes of this many of this, whatever. But, at the same time, you're going to start to see some states rise to the top, and then other states will like mimic the states that are doing well. And it just drives competition in a positive way that's better for youth coming up that are going to school. That's my opinion. Okay. Doesn't mean I'm right. Some people want a Department of Education over the whole country because if you move from Florida to California, you want the system to kind of be similar. So you're not, maybe you're taking a high level math course in Florida and then you move to California and you're in a mid-level course because that's just the way they do it in year 2 of high school or something. I don't know. So some people like a big Department of Education over the whole country, I don't mind it. I just say it's taking a big chance. So I'm not mad at Trump for gutting it and trying to give some power back to the states and limit the federal Department of Education. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, some states rise to the top, and other states can look at those and say, hey, I like what they're doing, and pick some things off the tree, if you will. So we'll see how it goes down, and we'll report back over time. But Trump is already sending out letters, and they're going to start. Uh, they're going to say firing people, but they're going to start releasing people with pensions. They're going to start releasing people with money to get by for 6 months and go find other jobs. And that stinks sometimes, but Trump got voted in on limiting government, so that's where he's headed right now.